Hi, so this is a review of the Cordoba C10 Parlor guitar for thisisclassicalguitar.com. And this, you've probably seen the other reviews I've done. I did a review of the C9 Parlor, which is mainly different than this one because it has a mahogany back. This one has an Indian Rosewood back and sides. So the Parlor guitars are 630 scale length guitars. So that's 630 millimeters from here to here. The average length on a classical guitar is 650. So it's a little bit shorter, making the first fret in particular quite closer to you. And then the stretch between each fret just a little bit smaller. And then the big difference with this instrument, though, when you get down to a 630 size and this Parlor guitar from Cordoba, is that the body size is significantly smaller. It's like a 7/8 size for an instrument. Plus, the neck width is significantly smaller at 50 millimeters, making it a much smaller neck, very suitable. Well, they market it suitable for smaller hands. That makes sense, but it's just simply smaller. So this one is a spruce top. So spruce top and Indian Rosewood back and sides. And the C9 one Parlor that I reviewed previously was a cedar top with a mahogany back and sides. So let me just talk about the instrument. I'll say some things that I really like about it and some really great things about this instrument, and then a couple of criticisms as well. So the good things about this instrument is that it's pretty affordable. It's a really good price, so it's a good deal for the money. Undoubtedly, I really recommend Cordoba guitars to my students, and all the ones that I've reviewed for the site I think are a really great deal for the price. So that's one great thing. Now, the Parlor size instrument, I'm a big supporter of smaller scale guitars. I'm short though, so I'm quite short. My hands are fairly small, so the smaller scale length for me makes everything a little bit more comfortable. I'm not going to say more easy because a lot of people buy smaller scale instruments thinking that it's going to make them play better. That's not necessarily true, but it might make it a little bit more comfortable. In particular, I like the small body size. I feel like I can relax my shoulders more. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the instrument a little bit, play a little bit on it, and then I'll take the camera off the tripod and do a quick, a close look at the instrument. So the things I like about the instrument is that I think that's pretty well balanced across the strings. Like the balance between the basses and the trebles I think are pretty good. Also the trebles have a pretty nice sustain to them. The instruments, I think the volume for the instrument is quite good. It's not exceeding my expectations like the C9 did. The C9's quite a bit cheaper, so it exceeded my expectations, and it's a cedar. This spruce, I think it projects nicely, and I think it's doing a good job. It's not exceeding my expectations, but I think it's doing a great job. For an instrument in this price range, I think it's doing great. And it has a nice sound. I think the spruce maybe has a little bit more of a refined sound than the cedar, or at least the C9 cedar that I tried out. Not quite as loud and big as the C12, which is quite a bit more money, and that was a full-size instrument that I reviewed, but still very nice. This size instrument, like I said, the neck is quite a bit smaller than the average classical guitar, so I find it really great for like certain repertoire for my small hands, like Vice. All those stretches, quite a bit more easy. So I really like this instrument. When I play on it and then return to a full-size instrument, I just think that this feels really great. I wish that the spacing on the neck was just a little bit wider. I'm so used to the regular size classical guitar that slightly wider would be better for me. This almost feels like some kind of crossover, but it could be really good for people with small hands. I think it would be great. And overall, I could get very used to this and how easy some of the stretches are. But I wouldn't mind that little bit of extra space. So if you're like an upper end classical guitarist who's been playing on a full size, you might want more space. I don't know. The neck profile is pretty good. It's a little on the round side, but it feels generally good. The playability of the instrument is fantastic. Like it feels really good to play. Really, really nice. So I'll do a close-up of the instrument, but first, in terms of playability, I think it's really great. Volume and tone, I think it's really good. Not exceeding, but like it's very good for the price. So definite plus points there. I play on a $7,000 Luthier made guitar. Classical guitars do not necessarily increase directly with their price. Like the quality of the instrument doesn't directly increase with the price, although the special touches on a high-end instrument are very nice touches and professionals are going to want that, and advanced players will probably want that. This instrument I think will do anyone really well though for a very long time, even to the advanced stages. So very, very nice. Craftsmanship is great. All the Cordoba guitars that I've reviewed have had really great finishing. The beautiful instruments for sure. This particular guitar that I got, the frets are quite sharp on the bottom here. It's like they weren't polished maybe as well as they could have been. I didn't notice that on the C9 that I tried, or the C12 that I tried, or any of the, even like the $300 student guitar models. The frets haven't been like that. So maybe, I think it's just like, on this particular guitar, something about the polishing just didn't work out. So the top frets are a little bit sharp on the fingers. Nothing serious. I could still play on it for sure, but I was surprised by that. I think this one probably just slipped through their fingers when they were testing it out. So that's my only complaint about workmanship, is that it seems like the frets didn't get their proper polishing or finishing, or they're a little sharp. So that's one thing to look out for. But in general, like I said, it's not affecting me. I could easily play on this instrument. I haven't seen that on their guitars before, so that's unfortunate. I'll play a little bit more on it. I changed the strings. I put D'Addarios on here as opposed to the Savres that come on it. It sounds much sweeter with the D'Addarios, but they're going out of tune right now, as you can hear. I really like the balance across the strings. I think it sounds pretty good. So, very nice sounding guitar. It's not projecting as much as the C12, but that's another $1,000, and compared to my guitar, which is like $7,000, it's not quite as much volume. But I think you could get by on this no problem. And if you didn't compare it to like a really expensive guitar that's way different in price range, I don't think you'd notice too much of a difference. Maybe holding the guitar back is maybe just the finish. Like a thicker finish on this makes it probably a little harder for it to produce sound. If I dig in though, it produces quite a bit. Or like rest strokes on the upper strings, produces quite a bit of volume. So I am impressed with it. I think maybe the cedar would produce a fuller sound in a small room like this. But on the concert stage, the spruce might be nice, and the tone is certainly very nice with the spruce. So it's maybe a trade-up between the spruce and the cedar top. So I'll do a close-up. I'll take the camera off the tripod and do a close-up of the instrument so you can see it. So here we're doing a close-up of the Cordoba C10 Parlor guitar. The spruce is really pretty, as you can see. I got this one off of Amazon for a really good deal because there's a small nick here. You can't really see it on the camera very well, but I got it for like 2/3 off the price, which is kind of amazing. Really pretty rosette here, you can see. Very, very nice. There's the label in there, the C10 Parlor. The bridge, 6-hole bridge. Spruce guitars are always kind of pretty. I really like the binding on this. Nice reds in there. Unlike the C12 that I just reviewed, this does not have a raised fingerboard, but that's the way it goes on most instruments. There's very few raised fingerboards in the classical guitar until you get to the Luthier level, but that could be something for the future for pretty much all guitars. Let's go up the neck here. Here's the headstock. tuners are doing the job for sure. And they look nice. They're pretty good overall, but they're not the smoothest that I've ever tried, but they'll definitely do the job. So no complaint for an instrument in this price range. It'd be nice to see a frictionless tuner on these more affordable guitars. So let's flip this guitar over. There's gonna be lots of glare in the room, so I'll just try to do this from different angles. It's hard to do it without glare. You just see me in the whole room. But anyway, there's the back. Like I said, lots of glare in this room, so it's hard to see the wood for what it is, how nice and pretty it looks. There's the back of the neck, headstock again. So much glare. But very nice back. I'll just flip it over one more time. So there it is, the Cordoba C10 Parlor. Overall, I really like the instrument for the price. I guess one other question would be, is how much better is it than the C9? Hard to say because this is a spruce and the other one was a cedar, but I'd say it's definitely a step up in tone. It's a little bit warmer, has a little bit more sustain. I think it's better overall. And you do have to pay a little bit extra for that, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so thanks very much. Check out my other reviews of Cordoba guitars. Thanks very much.